Thanks, Mark. Sorry to interrupt what I'm sure was a much more productive exchange than the comments I'm about to provide. But thank you for having me. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Thanks to my friends at FTD and FPI for inviting me to participate in what I think is a really important event here today. I understand Senator Kirk was here earlier. I'm honored just to have the opportunity to share a podium with the senator who's been a leader on this issue for many years, and our esteemed panelists. I want to particularly recognize Annette Lantos, wife of the late Congressman Tom Lantos, not just the only Holocaust survivor to serve in the United States House of Representatives, but one of the greatest champions for human rights in this country's history, and continue the work that you do carrying on that important work is vital as well, and I commend you for it. We're here to shine a light on the continued and grotesque human rights violations taking place in Iran. June 14th marks a year since the election of President Rouhani, who won the support of some opposition activists by promising, among other things, to release political prisoners. As the world is focused on nuclear negotiations now, we cannot ignore what takes place inside Iran every single day, and has continued every single day despite this change in leadership in Iran. Congress has been focused for many years now on this issue, too many years, in fact. In 2011, along with Senator Kirk, I was proud to author the Iran Human Rights and Democracy Promotion Act, part of which was eventually adopted into the broader Iran sanctions legislation. And I remember an event like this with Senator Kirk, quoting statistics about the number of executions and sharing stories of the persecution of religious minorities. Iran has been engaging in the most egregious abuses of its people for too long, and the international community must continue to stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves. Per capita, Iran ranks first in the world in terms of executions. According to the Iran Human Rights Documentation Center, more than 500 executions have taken place this year alone, but the Iranian government has only publicly reported some 125. Just last week, the UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in Iran, Dr. Ahmed Shahid, expressed outrage over the alarming number of executions that have taken place in Iran this year. A recent report by the Special Rapporteur stated as well that there are at least 895 prisoners of conscience and political prisoners incarcerated in Iran. This includes political activists, religious minorities, civic activists, students, journalists, and other leaders from civil society. Political prisoners face widespread physical, mental, and sexual abuse. Iran continues to perpetrate abuses against minorities. The Baha'i, the largest non-Muslim religious group in Iran, endures denial for jobs and other educational opportunities based simply on group membership, and face discrimination throughout the Iranian judicial system. As of last year, 136 Baha'i are currently being held in Iranian prison for religious reasons. And since 2005, 49 incidents of arson have been reported on Baha'i properties without a single arrest being made in connection with any of these crimes. Women are rarely afforded equal treatment in the judicial system. In fact, Iranian courts regard the testimony of a woman to be worth half of that of a man. Earlier this year, an Iranian woman who had been sentenced to death by stoning for adultery was released from prison after the international community seized on her case. That is precisely why events like this that highlight the regime's abuses are so critical. Iranian women have recently been persecuted for posting pictures of themselves without hijabs as part of the My Stealthy Freedom movement, established by an Iranian journalist who has since been publicly denounced on television. Women are subject to fines by the morality police for failing to wear a hijab in public. Shockingly, there are now calls for well-known Iranian actress Layla Hatami to be publicly flogged after a male director kissed her cheek at the Cannes Film Festival. In Iran, the LGBT community is silenced. Homosexuality in Iran is a crime, punishable by death. Iran is one of 7 countries where those engaging in consensual same-sex relationships can be punished by death. Just this week, a prominent LGBT poet was arrested. News reports apparently accused him of trying to spread homosexuality as his work was published by publishing houses outside of the country because he's not allowed to publish freely within Iran. Free speech and freedom of the press is virtually non-existent in Iran. We have to crack down on the tools used for censorship and repression. Social media in Iran is highly censored, despite the fact that both President Rouhani and Foreign Minister Zarif are quite active on Twitter. In May, 8 Facebook users received prison sentences ranging from 7 to 20 years. I could literally go on and on with examples of all of the ways that the people of Iran are violently deprived of their most basic rights. Today's panelists have already started delving deeper into the regime's abuses. But I'd like to close with just one message. Events like this are important because we need to make noise. We have to be heard. I know that many of us in Congress are focused, rightly, on preventing a nuclear Iran. Senator Kirk and I are deeply committed. But human rights can't be put aside during these negotiations. We have to continue to call on every nation that we call a partner to not ignore what is going on inside Iran. Any country that values human rights has to stand up for those rights everywhere. So I'd like to thank FDD and FBI for continuing to focus on these issues. I'd like to thank the panelists for being here today. And most importantly, I'd like to thank all of you for caring about this work.